This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning and welcome to the Big Football Show. I'm your host, BA. I have with me Keith Ingle, James Martin, and Jack Hirsch. It is October the 12th. We had quite a bit of college football yesterday, controversies, upsets, the normal Saturdays that we have. And then, of course, we got pro football coming on today. Jack's Jets are playing early this morning at 9:30, so we'll get into that as well. I hope you gentlemen are doing good this morning. The first college game I want to get to, and I watched this whole game in its entirety, was the Indiana-Oregon game. Oh, my God. Indiana is a force to be reckoned with right now. You go into Eugene, Oregon, and you beat Oregon the way they did, man. It was just awesome to watch. Indiana is here. Cignetti's got them guys playing, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten. I don't know what you guys thought about that game, if you even saw any of that game, but
they're a very complete team. We saw them annihilate Illinois, and we knew that was good. But going to Oregon and winning in a very tough place to play against a good football team is another step in the right direction for this program. I believe it's their first win it's their first road win, I know for sure, against a top 5 team. Mm-hmm. And Curt Cignetti still got the best introductory press conference ever when he said, all I do is win. Google me. And that's what he does. All he does is win. This is a good football team. It's better than the team that snuck up on us last year. The team doesn't have Ohio State. They don't have Michigan, who did lose, but they don't have either one of them on their schedule. They're probably going to the Big Ten championship game. They're a legitimate national championship contender, I think.
But Keith, are they going to be a legitimate contender going forward? Are they going to be the equivalent of what Cincinnati was a few years ago?
I think if Cignetti stays there, they'll stay at this level. It's going to be hard for anybody to stay at this level for any period of time anymore, right? You're not going to see 20-year runs like Alabama has had in the past and teams like that, but just because of the parity and the way kids move around. The nature of the game, but if he stays there, they'll be competitive and a contender until he leaves. And I don't think he's going to leave. He's 63 or 64 years old, so he's not a young guy. Maybe there's one more challenge he wants at a bigger name program, but he doesn't give any signals that that's going to happen. It's a great program.
Keith, you're right. Indiana, this is their first over-the-top win. Over top 5 wins since 1967. So, and I agree with you. They looked like this last year. Until they came up against a real tough team starting with Ohio State. But like you said, they're not there this year, and I think Indiana has an opportunity to top what they did last year.
Team's better this year though than last year. I think as good as they were last year,
better.
They're a lot better. At the quarterback position specifically, and that makes a huge difference, obviously. So it'll be fun.
Mendoza, he had a pretty good game except for that pick 6 that he had. But other than that, he had a pretty flawless game. And the defense for Indiana was
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 sacks on a team that only let up 1 sack the whole, to that point. And
of the 20 points Oregon got, I believe one was on a pick 6, and the other one was a short field, I think.
The defense shut him down the second half. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, actually, the one they had, it was kind of referee laden, if you know what I mean. We had a lot of those going on in college football this weekend. I mean, I don't like to blame the referees for anything, but sometimes they do aid in the fact that these teams get momentum. And Oregon had it in one drive when they got their touchdown. A couple of bad calls helped them get down the field. So
Yeah.
on that touchdown.
I have spoken a lot about referees and the fact that, I don't blame referees ever for my teams losing. That does not mean referees don't affect games. Referees make bad calls. Referees change momentum in games, which we saw yesterday, and I'm sure we'll talk about that game a little bit. And that it needs to be better, right? But don't blame referees. I hate it when.
Yeah, I know. I'm like that too, but
Don't put yourself in that.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean,
It
well,
happens. It does. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
everything the teams don't always put themselves in that position. It's just the fact that sometimes bad calls happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this drive, two bad calls happened for Indiana. But it doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, they got the W. Speaking of get the W, USC, they look tremendous against Michigan. They were just awesome. That quarterback, Jaden, what is his name? Mawabi, whatever his name is. He was fantastic in that game. They outplayed Michigan in every facet. Really, they dictated the trenches.
They played well, USC, for the most part. They went on the road and lost to Illinois last week, I think, who had obviously a chip on their shoulder. But traveling in the Big Ten is tough. USC is making the changes that they need to make. When they first came into the Big Ten last year, I didn't think they were ready. I didn't think UCLA was ready in the trenches. They couldn't play Big Ten type football. USC's making some changes on the defensive side of the football, defensive line, offensive line, and they look like more like a Big Ten football team now. And their defense is the big difference here. Their defense has been atrocious since Lincoln Riley got there. Kudos to them. Again, it's tough to go on the road and win, and USC is a tough place to play as well. But big win for USC. And Michigan, up and down. You're going to be that way sometimes with a young quarterback, and
Yeah, they played horrible.
they'll be okay.
I'm just gonna say it flat out. They played horrible.
Growing
you know,
pains.
and again, I knew this was going to happen sometime during the stretch of the season if they didn't take the breaks off of Underwood, because I could tell that he needed some help. I mean, he needed some more experience going downfield. There's a lot of passes he overthrew. He wasn't accurate in a lot of stuff. And this is because he didn't get this chance earlier in the season to do all this stuff. They put the brakes on. He's a great runner, but his passing needs to be stronger. And that's something that I don't see it yet.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they only ran for about 100 yards yesterday, too. I mean, the USC defense
that was USC.
stifling.
Yeah. USC was good all the way around. Next, Alabama beat Missouri 27-24. Good game. But Alabama showed that we kind of thought Missouri was going to.
How can it not be a good game? Yeah, you added in good game, 27-24.
Well, not every game that's 27-24 is a good game. Just because you look at the score,
Right.
I watched some of that game. But the point of the matter is Alabama. I thought Missouri was going to do what Missouri does, to give them a really good game, and that's what they did. Alabama's they're trying to get over that hump where they're trying to get back into the Alabama of the back in the day. So we'll see what happens with that.
But they haven't lost since opening games. Haven't they gotten their mojo back? If
That
they
loss
see
was-
the
Pretty
But
much.
That loss looks worse and worse, though, as Florida State continues to tumble, by the way. That loss doesn't look as good. It's probably not going to matter unless they were to lose a couple times in the SEC, which they may not. This team is really good. And I have to admit when I'm wrong, and I was way off on Ty Simpson. I said Ty Simpson was not going to be a factor at quarterback. The fact that he's stuck around here for 5 years waiting to play said something. This kid's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, at least right now, and that could change. But he's playing better, as good as anybody in the country.
He's a big reason they're winning. He's a big reason they're winning.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And of course, good old Ohio State beat Illinois. Number 1 Ohio State beat number 17 Illinois 34-16. I don't think anybody didn't see that one coming.
I didn't see it going. I got to be honest. On our Friday show, I said to Keith, I'm not only taking Illinois with the points, I'm picking them to upset Ohio State. So I got to come clean. So I was super impressed watching Ohio State yesterday. They took control of the game from the outset, were never threatened. And they look poised to repeat, if the playoffs were starting, next weekend.
Another team winning with their defense is really, really good. I mean, they only had a couple hundred yards of offense yesterday. They didn't set the world on fire offensively, but their defense is just maybe the best in the country.
2 fumble recoveries and 1 interception.
Yeah.
And let's be real with Illinois. They're not as good a team as people think they are. Remember, this is the same team that got blown out by Indiana 63-3. So I didn't think that they even had a chance. I mean, Ohio State, they made it closer than it looked. You know what I'm saying? But Ohio State scoring 34 points to me is, that.
Illinois is a good football team, not top echelon of the Big Ten. Good. Last year they had a very good season, but they didn't really. They missed a lot of the big boys last year in their schedule in the Big Ten, which helped them a lot. And you're seeing that they're not ready to match up against the best teams, Ohio State and Indiana specifically.
Pittsburgh upsets number 25 Florida State 34-31. What do you guys think about that one?
Florida State got off to such a good start, and I've said all year I'm not a big fan of Castellanos, the quarterback. You get benched at Boston College, then move on to a better school, better program theoretically. He's just too inconsistent. He's not accurate throwing the ball. He's a great runner and he's a great athlete. But this team and the defense let him down yesterday. Look, they're a lot better than last year, this Florida State team. Pittsburgh's better than you think. They're not a great team, but going to Pittsburgh, again, you're traveling. But now they've lost, I think. This is three straight losses now for Florida State. And, again, makes Alabama's loss to them look worse. And the talk about Florida State being in the playoffs should be done after yesterday.
He sort of reminds me of Reggie Ball back in the day from Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
You think about with a quarterback. He's not that tall. I mean, he's very athletic, but Reggie Ball actually was able to have some success with Calvin Johnson, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Robbie, if you're out there, I told you about Pitt. You want to sit there and say, I don't like Pitt. We don't have a good team in Pitt. Okay, whatever, dude. Number 6, Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry lost to Texas 23-6. I don't know what Mateer had a horrible day. I think this is like the second time I've said this since he's played, that he's had a horrible day. I don't know. Is he that guy, or is he just a guy?
I think he's an inconsistent quarterback. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. Sometimes he tries to do too much. He doesn't have a lot of help because they cannot run the football at Oklahoma. He's the only guy who can run the football. Yesterday, I don't think he even did that. And I think the injury's still lingering with him. And I'm not making an excuse. I don't know that he should have been playing yesterday. And if he doesn't play, they probably lose too, quite frankly. It really doesn't matter. And I think Texas, look, they haven't played good football, but it's still a good football team with a lot of talent on that team. Arch played much better yesterday. Not a huge yardage for passing, but still played a lot much better than he's played up until now, especially against better teams. But I think Oklahoma's came into this game a tad overrated, and this game's going to hurt.
Yeah, Keith, for the most part, Texas's defense has been fine throughout the year. They've struggled on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they ran the ball today, too.
Mateer is 17 days from hand surgery on his throwing hand.
Right.
I wouldn't doubt that 3 interceptions had that surgery didn't have anything to do with those 3 interceptions. He's typically a player that takes care of the ball. I mean, from all the games that I've seen him play, this Red River rivalry didn't live to the billing. I thought Texas. I thought Oklahoma. I mean, I thought he was going to be okay. I didn't realize that you can see that he's not ready to play. But obviously, they're going to keep playing him because they knew this was a big game. And like you said, Texas defense is fine. It's just a matter of getting the offenses together. And this was a needed game to get back in the top 25. I think Texas is probably going to get back in the top 25 for being a number 6 team overall. And you can kind of look. I would say that this might have taken Sarkisian off the hot seat, even if because the situation with Arch. I don't know. You lose 2 games. I think weren't they ranked number 1 coming into the season?
Texas and Penn State 1 and 2.
Well,
So this is a good way in the right direction. But we'll see. I'm not sure if Texas is that good either.
James, there's been some talk of if Arch played a bad game, he might actually get benched before the year's over. And then there was a discussion if that ever happened, would he go to the transfer portal for next year, as much as he loves being a student at Texas?
I heard that chatter, and I don't think they would have benched Arch. Just look he threw 90 passes, maybe not even 90 passes before this year. I mean, not everybody comes in and you're playing at the highest level. And really sets the world on fire. I think Arch Manning will be fine. I think he'll be back here next year. I don't think he'll be going into any drafts.
I'm with you on that one.
And I think he'll be fine by the time he gets through with his college career.
I think that the only issue with Arch is that he has the Manning name, and the pressure is on him. Don't mind you. Again, this is a kid that coming in commercials, so he's drinking some of that Kool-Aid himself. So he thought he was actually pretty good too. So he needs to do. I just thought last year, like I said, you don't beat out Quentin Ewers. Let's pause and let him just see how he does. And we're seeing he's progressing. He's progressing, but he's not what the hype was suggesting that he would be. So I would say let's continue to see him progress. I hope he'll be fine. But I'm not saying he's not first overall draft pick. Let's pump the brakes on that.
We never. Nobody ever should have said that, right? I mean, because we don't know until you see guys play. And I will, to your point, James. There isn't a kid, by the way, a kid, not even a guy, a kid in the country playing with more pressure on him than Arch Manning because of who he is. Just because of who he is. Yeah.
Well, I've been guilty of getting a little carried away because he was outstanding in high school, plus having the Manning name, the pedigree, the whole thing.
Jack.
We assumed he was, when he'd eventually go into the NFL draft, he'd be a very high draft choice, if not number 1 overall. And it wasn't just me. The NFL.
Oh no, it was definitely mostly you.
A ton of scouts. No. The NFL had a ton of scouts watching that first game against Ohio State, much more than they would any other quarterback. So they were swallowing the same Kool-Aid that I was. I mean, but I think he'll be fine. And if I still had to give a prediction, when he comes out the year after next, he's going to be maybe not the number 1 overall draft choice, but he's going to be a first-round draft choice.
You might have been drinking a Jim Jones Kool-Aid, Jack. I would say that, look, you constantly put the Saints out there going to need to get take this kid number 1 overall. I mean, I heard it all the time. I knew better. I knew better because I just think, okay, they're just pushing him too much out there. I get it, the Manning name out there. You got to look at the 2 Mannings, how they started. First of all, they weren't all that great. Peyton Manning himself wasn't even a starter his freshman year. And so he took over, and he had to go through some growing pains. And nor did he win the biggest games that he needed to win. As great as he was, he didn't win big games. So I think we're putting way too much pressure on this kid to go out there and be a Manning when Mannings didn't become Mannings until they were in the league. I mean, greatly, as far as like who they particularly were. I think a lot of people look at the end results and trying to put that on this kid starting out, and I think it was totally unfair in that regard.
It's not unfair to the player because when you consider any player what they're getting financially in the NIL money and so on, so big deal. I'm sure you get the majority of college players are going to welcome the pressure and the scrutiny in exchange for the dollar if they were able to get it.
I suppose.
Yeah. Iowa was upset by Colorado. Iowa State, that was upset by Colorado. Deion Sanders and his crew went out there and beat Iowa. I think that we talked earlier before the show started that Iowa State's not exactly the greatest, but whatever. I'm not taking nothing away from Colorado, though. Colorado did an excellent job. That there was a reason why Iowa State was, got beat. They did an excellent job. So
They did.
Deion Sanders is a heck of a coach. People keep looking at the image. He is a heck of a coach. I mean, when you talk about going elsewhere, big-time programs like Penn State, for example, no one mentions Deion Sanders' name because they don't like his personality, etc. Okay, but give him credit. He's done a phenomenal job at Colorado and before that at Jackson State.
He has done a good job. I've always talked that he's actually a very good builder of young men. He benched his own son in the championship game at Jackson State, in fact, for violating some rule. But this isn't and this is not a really – Iowa State was overranked. They had they were 4-0, but a very soft 4-0 considering how bad Kansas State has been this year. And I think people were too high on them. And they've lost like 3/4 of their secondary now, too, which has really hurt this team the last few weeks. So Matt Campbell's name is already coming up for other jobs, which every year it happens. Matt Campbell will get mentioned for every job that opens up in a Power 4 conference. And he'll probably stay right there. He's a good football coach, but this isn't a powerhouse, Iowa State. He's done a very good job there, but, they're not Michigan or Ohio State. I had to throw Michigan. I always say Alabama, and so I'll say Michigan, Ohio State.
You could have said Alabama. Michigan's not going to be that team for a couple of years.
I just mean historic.
Building.
Historic.
And the Utes of Utah beat Arizona State University, who was ranked 21st. They beat the crap out of them, too. They'd be like 42-10. Actually, this is one of those ones that I picked on our college thing there, Keith. I picked them to win this game. I didn't know they were going to beat them by this much, though. Woo.
Utah's been a disappointment this year, and it's a tough place to play. They played without their starting quarterback. Levin didn't play yesterday for Arizona State. Huge difference, obviously, in that team. But Utah's better than, the sum of their record this year. So it's a tough place to play. They'll be tough to beat the rest of the way out. That's a crazy league. The Big 12 is just going to be a crazy finish there, I can tell you. There's 7 teams that can win that conference.
Yeah, it's these teams are just, like James likes to say, cannibalizing themselves in these conferences. LSU won yesterday. Congratulations to James. Miami had a bye, right? Yeah.
You want to give James more play when his team wins? You just went over it like that. What did they win, 20-10?
Well, because they won. Had they lost, then there would have been something. Or if they beat a higher ranked team. If they beat a higher ranked team, they would have won it. Yeah.
Yeah. We still have some struggles offensively. Clearly, we should have won bigger than that. We got in the red zone and gave 2 turnovers away, a fumble and an interception. Wow. We're starting to get there, but man, the decision making of Nussmeier, still question that, and the running back. Caden Durham is actually the best running back. He's good. It was just an unfortunate fumble on right before the goal line, and man, you gotta give credit to that defense of South Carolina. They play well, but at the same time, LSU is a much better offense. I think they have much better weapons. It's just something's not clicking there with between the quarterback, wide receivers. You see the tight end, Trey Green had a really big game with LSU, and so that's what they were looking for with him. He's a red zone threat. big 6'7" tight end, man. He looked like, I think he played basketball too as well. So you got to really utilize him more and utilize the strengths. But Garrett Nussmeier looked like he was pounded the whole game, man. They were knocking him down to all the pressures and hitting him. He had a lot of quarterback hits, and he still looks gimpy. So we'll see. But LSU, for right now, it's a win. I'll take it.
Their defense is very good. Lenore Sellers looked terrible yesterday, and part of it because of that defense, I think. And South Carolina is one of the biggest disappointments probably in college football, along with many other teams this year, including Sellers, who was a front runner for the Heisman early in the year, and along with.
If you had to name one team, Keith, as the biggest disappointment to date, would it be Penn State or someone else?
It'd definitely be Penn State.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Keith.
100% Penn State, 100%.
But Keith, is it a disappointment?
That's an easy.
Because you always look at James Franklin as not the guy that can win the big games.
He can't win the small games. Northwestern.
Yeah, he's not even losing a big game. He's losing every game.
Yeah, right. And they're losing them at home. That's what's worse.
Oh.
And now they lost Alar for the year, which maybe isn't a bad thing because he's been having a horrible year. So their playoff chances are dead in the water as well.
If they run
Is James Franklin's job dead in the water?
It depends. If they got if they have the stomach to give him $63 million to walk away, then yeah. Here's what I think. I think there'll be some agreement. I think James Franklin will be coaching next year, but not at Penn State. I think he's going to very quietly be looking at some of these other openings, and he'll come to some agreement with Penn State to walk away from there.
And thank you, Mike. Yep, Navy had a huge comeback to beat Temple. They were down by, I think it was like 14 points. I was watching halfway through that because I was on and off with the Indiana game as well. But they did a great job. Hargraf, as much crap as I give him as a quarterback for throwing, the dude makes it up by running. And then he had a heck of a pass at the end of the game that set up the 2-point conversion to win it. And Navy's going. They haven't lost yet.
They still have it's going to be a tough road. There's a big group of teams alive for that group of 5 college football pick, including like 4 or 5 in their conference, which are really good teams. So, but they're alive, and they've got a shot to win the American.
What's going on there, Monkey? All right. So from the collegiate level to the professional level, we have the
Aren't
NFL.
they the same thing? I'm sorry. Aren't they the same?
Sometimes it seems like
that's great, Keith. That you're right on, spot on with that. Yeah.
So our first game of the day is the Denver Broncos versus the New York Jets. How you feel about this game, Jack?
Yeah, it's in London. I wonder what's going to happen after the game. That's what the suspense is, because I don't anticipate the Jets winning. It would be a pleasant surprise if they did, because as mentioned before, Woody Johnson was an ambassador in England, and that's his place, to lose in London. Robert Salah got fired after they lost in London last year. And the talk is that Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, might go if they lose this game. And that would really be a blow to Aaron Glenn. What does that say about Aaron Glenn's 10 years as Jet coach if they start firing his assistants during the year, especially his hand-picked defensive coordinator?
It's no different. Again, Jack, it is no different than when Dan Campbell fired Nate Lynn in the beginning of his tenure.
Dan Campbell, wait. It would be Woody Johnson doing the firing. Aaron Glenn isn't firing Steve Wilks. That's his guy, the defensive coordinator. But if Woody Johnson steps in, that'll tell you a lot about how secure Aaron Glenn is. And he's not going to fire Aaron Glenn for the simple reason he has no one right now to replace him with. Put in a no-name interim coach the way they did last year when they fired Salah just doesn't work. But are the Jets going to be traders at the deadline? Is it going to be a wholesale fire type thing? Is Breece Hall going to go? Is Quentin Williams going to go? And we just don't know. I mean, Michael Carter, the third, he might be going. The Jets aren't going to stand pat if they lose this game. It's going to be ugly. And to beat the Denver Broncos, I don't think they're going to do it. I mean, Denver's a good team, big win against Philadelphia last week. And as much as I want the Jets to win, and it's going to be a competitive game, I see Denver winning something like 26-14. And then it's going to be an ugly week, after that.
Jack, I'm going to say a goose egg is the right thing when you're on the right side of your record. But being in the front, that's pretty bad, man. I just think that the Jets have been a complete disappointment. I picked them to be very high. You have way too much talent on that team to be at this juncture. They looked like they were say maybe formidable when they played a great game, the first game against Pittsburgh. But man, it's just been all wheels off, sitting on cinder blocks on going forward here. And like you said, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to beat the Broncos, and it's unfortunate. And there's been speculation that Breece Hall, the teams that have been asking about him before the trade deadline about whether or not they can get his services, which I don't know if it was the Broncos or something. I forgot whether the teams were asking about him, but yeah, man, he'd be just win his game. Get it together, man. You got the personnel. I mean, your offensive line is still intact. There's nobody hurt on the offensive line, right?
No, but James, this is the situation with Breece Hall. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and they didn't extend him the way they did Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, which should tell you a lot before the year. They wanted to see what he could do. But
he's playing. He's playing well.
Well, unless he has a big season the rest of the way and they don't trade him, they're not going to give him a new contract because he's going to command a little, running backs don't get paid as much, but I don't think the Jets are looking to invest in him. They weren't even talking about making Braylon Allen the featured back, but Allen is injured now. So Breece Hall's getting the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for this team to go 0-17, and I think they
won't go 0-17.
Sounds how you really feel.
Since they fired Robert Saleh, they played 17 games over the 2 years. That's the equivalent of a full NFL season, and they're 3-14 since they fired Robert Saleh.
It's a bad football.
To tell you something. Should they have ever fired Robert Saleh, who's having a lot of success once again as the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers?
Not the head coach. Right. The defensive coordinator, not the head coach. Listen, they're playing in England today in a soccer stadium. My guess is they get blown out by the Broncos, and maybe they get relegated to the CFL after this game, and we won't see the Jets anymore.
Damn, Keith.
Prediction, ugly day for the Jets.
Yeah, I think that's the only difference with the Jets franchise than the Lions franchise at this point. I think the Jets – I'm sorry, Jack. The Jets are just going to jet when it comes to the front office. They have a good coach there. They have to allow him to change the culture of that without being – I know it's New York, but there's no New York team, New Jersey, no New Jersey team that has been that great over the last 10, 15 years. So, come on. We got to get together.
All right.
You want the New York to be great, then stay with one thing and believe in it.
Hold on, Keith, before you go. I'm going to make a bold pick. There's no way that you're going to go across the Atlantic, fly all the way over there, and lose a game and be 0-6. So I'm going to pick the Jets. I'm going to say they're going to shock the world. They're going to beat the Broncos over in London. And they're going to win. You got to have pride. Have some pride, man. You can't fly back with your tail between your legs and lose. So, coach, get your team ready. Go out there and win and come back 1-5 and just be happy about one win for the season.
I will have to defend Jack on one thing. If the defensive coordinator gets fired by the owner, that's a whole lot different than getting fired by your head coach that hired you. That's a totally different thing. Yeah. And it does not bode well for Aaron Glenn. And if I'm Aaron Glenn, and I'm going to stand up for my guy, and if he doesn't fight for him, then I'm losing all respect for Aaron Glenn, because that's my guy, and you can't be doing that.
Aaron Glenn will stand up for him, but you can't expect Aaron Glenn to resign.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, first of all, I'm saying you're right, that it's totally different. If Woody Johnson fires him, and it's stupid to fire anybody 6 games into the regime here, right? They're trying to change a culture that has sucked for decades.
The problem is the culture's gotten worse even. It's gone downhill. It's not trending in the right direction. It also depends how they lose. If they lose 24-21, a field goal at the end of the game, you could say they showed some grit against a good team. But if it gets ugly and they lose 34-7, I mean, that's when it becomes alarming.
I hear you.
Jack, I got to pull your no moral victories here. You can't say that. No moral victories at all, man. You got to win. You need to win. 0-6 flying back on the flight from across the Atlantic sucks. That's just what it boils down to. You got to win.
Right. You're right.
Again, it's just a difference in franchises at this point, as far as I'm concerned. You don't give that guy a chance to do anything. I mean, like I said before, the Lions front office, when they changed over to Sheila Hampford, she gave Dan Campbell the whole season. And then when they were only 3-13-1 at that, she's continued to have faith in that guy. And they didn't win their first game until week 12. So I'm not saying that's not going to be the Jets. They could win before that. But the point of the matter is, give the guy, give AG some leeway. He's got to establish a culture in there. This is exactly the reason why New York keeps doing the same thing every year, because they don't like what they see at first, and then they get rid of whatever
But
that
you
is.
got to live with your choices. If it doesn't work out with Justin Fields, that's Aaron Glenn's choice. He's got to be held responsible, because that's him and the GM. That's where they pointed the direction in Justin Fields' hands. And if Justin Fields works out, give him full credit.
Well, and give him a chance to do that, though. That's what I'm saying. I mean, AG will, if he's coming from the same fabric as Dan Campbell, he will give Justin Fields his due until Justin Fields proves he's not the guy for that team. And then Aaron Glenn will make that change. I'm telling you that. He's not going to sit there and just say, oh, well, this team sucks, I'm just going to let it suck for the rest of the year. No, he's going to make changes to that team during the course of the year to make that team better. It's about winning at the end of the day. So he'll do everything he possibly can do to get that team to win.
Play to win the game.
Right. On that note, Keith, who do you have in this game?
Oh, I like the Broncos by 100, actually. So
100.
Oh my God, 100.
Jack.
By about 12 points, Denver. Something like, I could see a 26-14 type game.
And James.
I can't go back on my pick'ems and change because it's on my phone. But I'm changing. I'm shocking the world here. I'm going with the Jets. All right, Jack, don't let me down, man. I'm going with the Jets.
If I picked the Jets to win, you'd be picking Denver. So it's okay. You could flip back to Denver if you want.
I'm going with the Jets by 2 points.
You can go to the ESPN app, and if you can log in, you can change your picks on your phone. So.
Oh, yeah.
He's only doing that because I picked the Saints to win the first game of the season. Because
I don't think James really wants. I don't think James really wants to change the pick. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Michael Gott's from the UK, by the way. He's 5 hours ahead. I don't know if he's going to the game today.
He might know the results of the games. Maybe we should find out. I need a couple winners today. Jeez.
Of epic proportion.
Epic proportion.
That's
100 points. 100 points would definitely be epic proportion.
Epic proportion. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't see anything that's changing right now for the Jets. I'm sure it's going to change sometime in the future. So I'm picking the Denver's on that one. I might just say I picked Denver. The next game that we're going to talk about is those wacky Arizona Cardinals going against the up and coming Indiana Jones led.
Hold on. I want to pull a Jack. Let's pull audible. Pull audible. We got two people on the panel here, games that are playing each other, and Keith has about 20 minutes here. Let's get into the Patriots and Saints.
Well, I don't think it's going to take us 20 minutes to talk about that game, is it? Jeez.
Oh, it's definitely going to take us 20 minutes.
Listen, I am worried. Listen, it's the NFL. You can go lose anywhere. Traveling to New Orleans, I worry a little bit about a letdown after a huge win last week, obviously, for the Patriots. I do think they should win this game. Drake May is getting better and better every week. He just makes plays. He keeps plays alive, and he's not doing stupid things with the football every time he tries to make something happen like he did the last year and part of this year. Gibson being out for the year hurts his running backfield a little bit. I think you'll see more of Trayvon Henderson today. And I like the Patriots to go on the road. And I don't think this will be a 100-point win. I do not think that. I think this could be a tight football game. But the Patriots find a way to win this game on the road.
Okay.
There are a lot of storylines here. I think the biggest one that no one's really talking about is the return of Stephon Diggs and the Minneapolis Miracle against the Saints. So
return game every week. He's having
for this game.
No one but the Saints. I'm telling you, the Saints fan base and the Saints hold grudges like nobody's business.
Yeah, most of them weren't on the team at the time.
I'm telling you right now, Cam Jordan definitely was, and and he's definitely one. Jack, let me finish. Thank you. I will say that he's having a great season right now. Stephon Diggs is playing great, and he had an excellent game against Buffalo. He and Drake May as well is playing. I mean, he's throwing the ball like lights out, a lot of his passes, Keith, are more outside, and they're targeted on the outside, and he's like elite level throwing the ball and making the completion. So that's what I'm kind of concerned with, but I like Spencer Rattler improved as well. Spencer Rattler didn't have any sacks against probably one of the better defensive fronts that he'll face all year. And so this is no revenge game. Stop it. But Monkey, don't be mad because your team lost last week, man, to the Patriots.
Oh.
So I would say, yeah. You just I would say that the Saints are confident. My only concern would be Keyshawn Boutte and Stephon Diggs going against our rookie cornerback Quincy Riley and second-year cornerback in Kool-Aid McKinstry, who just happened to be defensive player of the week with 2 interceptions. So I don't know if he's going to do that consistently. I just think that it'll be tight, but I like an upset here. I like us to at home to get a second win.
You done hit a nerve. You done hit a nerve with Kevin. You done hit a nerve.
Questionable every week, I think, Kamara.
Yeah, he's been questionable for his career, but yet he's produced.
Yeah,
he's questionable, but there is a return, a debut happening as well, and that's Chase Young. He hadn't played all season, so I like the fact that he's back, and I think that's going to help.
Well, he was a projected Hall of Famer.
Hey, Jeremy, you can talk all that stuff you want to, but he blew up Buffalo for like 100 and something yards.
And by the way, this
148.
He started hitting it going the week before. They got him more involved in the offense the week before this this last game against Buffalo. So Diggs, he's got to continue to perform at this level. If he gets hurt, because there's not enough depth at that wide receiver position, he needs to keep doing what he did last week and the week before.
I would trust New England a little more in a game like this. They have the better coach. They have the better quarterback. No disrespect to Spencer Rattler, but he's auditioning for a job, and he's going to be auditioning all year. We should have a list, if time ever permitted, of all the teams, which quarterbacks are actually auditioning for their future. I don't mean a temporary fill-in. There are a lot of the fan number that are auditioning. Drake May's not auditioning. He's their guy of the future. And I can't believe that New England, coming off such a massive win at Buffalo against one of the best teams in the NFL, will go to New Orleans and then all of a sudden stumble. They're not good enough for it to be a trap game. They can't be taking New Orleans lightly.
Well, I don't think Mike Vrabel.
New Orleans did beat the Giants last week. I don't think much in New Orleans. I only think they're going to win a couple of games this year. Last week was one of them. But I just, even at home, I think New Orleans is going to play them tough. It's going to be a close game, but New England should prevail.
And this team has taken on the persona of Mike Vrabel, and you're finding out why he's the only coach that Mayo would have got fired for was Mike Vrabel. Great, real quick, I watched the Edelman and Gronk podcast this week, and they had a segment where would Mike Vrabel win a fight against every other NFL coach, and the only one they gave a chance to, Brian, was Dan Campbell, just so you know. They said it would probably be a split decision.
I paid money to go see that.
Do we count assistant coaches, a defensive coordinator?
This is just head coach.
No, Jack, we're not making it. We're not making it complicated. It's head coaches, buddy. Just head coaches. Jack, who do you got in this game between the Saints and the Patriots?
Well, no,
he picked the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots close game. Something like 23-20.
I mean, yeah, you can. But
I mean, keep giving him he needs his pink pop rocks. That's what he needs.
Yeah, right. I mean, but he had a bunch of them last week, I think, pretty sure. But cancer might be too hard of a word for him. I mean, he does quit on teams, and he's not a good guy to have around when he's not getting the football. I get it. He's like every other wide receiver. He's a diva, but cancer might be a little bit harsh, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Since this is a 4-panel discussion, I'm gonna go with James.
Oh, Brian's got a pick.
Yeah, I got a pick. So I'm going with James the Saints because I think they play really outstanding at home. This is kind of. I like New England too.
I like the team loses the vast majority of games. They only had home because they won one game at home. I mean, come on.
Jack, not everybody enlists in your way of thinking. Okay, so I'm giving it to the home team. All right.
We are 1-4, Jack. It's not a great record, but there's somebody worse than us.
Yeah.
And they're
on this panel.
I'll agree with that. Yeah. I'll tip my hat to you.
Okay, so let's get back into the wacky Arizona Cardinals playing the.
He's a diva.
Monkey is not happy. He played for Buffalo, so I mean, yeah.
Well, he played for Minnesota too, and that's when Rick made that comment about the cancer. And again, maybe he is. He is a diva. I get that. They all are. So. Anyway, sorry, Brian. I'm turning Jen over here. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Arizona Cardinals versus the Indianapolis Colts. What do you got? Who you got in that one, Keith?
I like the Colts. Kyler Murray's out here, which is about their only chance to win with Connor already gone. Their offense is falling apart here week by week. They're not a bad football team. I think they're well coached. By the way, I think the fine that their coach got for getting in the running back's face is a little over the top. He had every right to get in that guy's face. I don't understand how they fined him for that.
You can't put your hands on the player. That was the reason, not that he got in his face.
Fair enough, but whatever. I mean, when I grew up, every coach put their hands on a player, and nobody got hurt. So,
soft. You gotta say, call it soft.
Thank you, soft. Anyway, I like the Colts here. Colts are. We're 5 games in now, so we got a decent body of work here. The Colts are a good football team. They're going to win this game. I think a couple touchdowns.
There you go. And Jack, who you got, buddy?
I like Arizona on an upset, actually. I know they're going to Indianapolis there. Jacoby Brissett is filling in. He's been all over the place, including Indianapolis in the past. I think Brissett shows he can win short term. Couple of games here, a couple of games there. Was effective at Cleveland. And Marvin Harrison is coming around now the last couple of games. being the type of player we thought he would be coming out of college. And they have a good defense. And they've lost tight games. And they lost a complete flukish game to the Tennessee Titans. Where at the end of the game, they had like a 99% chance of winning, according to the analytics, but somehow they lost.
Because you have to carry the ball all the
and
way.
that incident with Coach Gannon, maybe that wakes them up a little bit. Maybe the players respond to that. I just don't think that they're a bad team. I'm not ready to give up on the Arizona Cardinals, who I still think are going to win the division over the Rams and the 49ers. I haven't given up on them yet, and I think it starts today. They beat the Colts in the squeaker. Fairly high-scoring game, something like 27-26.
Okay, James.
Playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs? I definitely think playoffs for this team, the Colts. They are contenders. They are not pretenders. They are definitely going to win this game. They're going to win, especially with players out for Arizona.
Too many guys.
Indiana Jones is got another movie out, and it's going to be high ratings. They're definitely playing well, man. It's just hard, and then to have a running back like Jonathan Taylor, he is in rare form right now. I just think that they're excellent. They're the creme de la creme of this division. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know what Jack is talking about with them. They're not good, man. It's just they're a disappointment every year. They need to revamp that team and drop some players. And I unfortunately, I even think that maybe a trade or is imminent for Kyler Murray. I don't see him being the team's answer at franchise quarterback there. And I've always rooted for him because I thought he was excellent coming out of college, and I thought he played. He had signs of being a franchise guy, but he's inconsistent, man. I can't take him anymore. I just think that team's probably not going to want to take him anymore. I think they may look to go elsewhere. I just don't know if there's anything out there to take to replace him. That's the only problem.
No,
but with that said, I'm going with the Colts.
Colts.
Yeah. I unfortunately, I wasn't like Jack. I didn't go all the way up to winning the division, but I did have them finishing second.
I liked them better too. I did.
Yeah, they're not making good football plays out there on the field, and that's a telltale sign of how that team is. I to say that San Francisco and Seattle are playing way better than they are right now. I'm going to go with that. Colts winning that game. Let's see. We got the LA Rams, Matt Stafford going against Baltimore and Cooper Rush. Who you got, Keith?
I don't see how. I thought the Ravens would find a way to sneak out a win late last week, and they got just humiliated. This team is not a talented football team as they've been in the past. Without Jackson, they have no chance here. Rams.
Jack.
Let me think that over a little more.
Oh, come on! No way!
I'm going to tell you why. I'll give you an answer now because I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl, and I don't want to give up on a team this early who I picked to win the Super Bowl. And it's they're 1-4, and I don't see the Ravens winning today, and then they're 1-5. At what time do I pull the plug on my prediction? And I never like to pull the plug on a prediction because then the team starts coming back. I kind of like to keep the faith. Like you guys say, keep faith in Aaron Glenn, which I am. Let him keep coaching and straighten it out. Let the team straighten up. But the Ravens haven't even been competitive in their losses. They've given up so many points. A lot more points, over this span of games than they have in years. I mean, what's happened to them? They got the same coach, John Harbaugh, very good coach who's run a great program. What on earth is going on with the Ravens? It seems like they've quit. Okay? And I don't want to hear Lamar Jackson's out, this or that. Cooper Rush was competent as a Cowboy backup. He can run an offense. Okay? But with that said, the way the Ravens have been playing, I just can't pick them to win as much as I want to. I'll compromise and say they'll be competitive and lose by 10 points. They won't get
Moral
blown
victories.
out.
Moral
But
victories.
it means nothing. It means nothing exactly. But they're playing in Baltimore. At what point to the Ravens do you pull the plug on the season? If you pull the plug on the Ravens this year, what does it say for them going forward, guys? Did they have to be sellers? Did they have to rebuild? James picked them to win the Super Bowl too. What the heck is going on in Baltimore?
I have a question. If Jack hadn't answered because we gave more time, would that exact conversation been going on in his head this whole time?
I was looking for reasons. I wanted to stall for time so I could pick the Ravens to upset the Rams and get back on track. I was trying to buy a little time.
And you came to the same conclusion that we all were in a match. We could have just said this in 2 seconds. We know that the Ravens are going to lose this game. You got the number 1 offense going against the number 31st defense. And no Lamar, that equals a bad equation for the Ravens. It's just not good. And then it's unfortunate because, like you said, Jack, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. They had a couple of bad luck. They had a little bad luck in the first couple of games. Fumbles from their running back. Nobody would think that would happen in three straight games. That were pretty costly. And I just think the Ravens are in a bad luck year right now. But it's not bad luck when you have a really bad defense, though. There's no covering up for that. That defense is atrocious. I mean, I don't know what to say. And again, they're about to face, even if they are at home, the Rams offense is number 1 in the league. It's going to be tough. Unless Matt.
You said it before, James. Soft. This team, and this is not a Ravens trademark. They're soft. They've always been a tough football team. They're soft.
Can you imagine Tony Siragusa rolling over his grave, looking at this defense right now? And then Ray Lewis is probably like losing his mind at the side of his defense. Ed Reed, Suggs, all these guys that were like just dominant forces are seeing how bad this defense is. And again, the trademark is their defense, and it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Rams big in this one.
So Keith, what do you say when the backup quarterback comes in?
What do I say?
Season is usually their season.
Quarterback, you're done. Your season's over.
There
if
you
he's
go.
got any amount of time.
Whether Cooper Rush is competent enough, he's not gonna. Jack, no. The difference between Cooper Rush and Lamar Jackson is like winter and summer, buddy.
Oh.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I want to hear backup quarterback can lead a team to a Super Bowl. Look, Carson Wentz got injured when he was the Eagles starter. They went on and won the Super Bowl. Phil Simms was hurt with the Giants. They won the Super Bowl.
That was 100 years ago.
It's hard. I mean, obviously, you're better off with your starter. But look what's going on with the 49ers, and look what's going on with the backups. With Mac Jones, the Niners are winning. Hey, so I don't want to hear, I don't condemn the backups.
I'm talking about teams.
Forgive me, Jeremy, number 1 passing offense.
Yeah.
Well, but I agree. Lamar Jackson is miles and miles ahead of Cooper Rush. But, Lamar Jackson would be miles ahead of any backup.
I mean, Monkey, that may be true, but I mean, you have the same with Josh Allen. You can still lose with Josh Allen too, and that's been proven. So Lamar gives the Ravens when Lamar was on the Ravens before his injury, the offense was decent. That's what you had to stop, and the defense is just crap. And that's, there was not enough offense to offset the defense. So now that you don't have Lamar Jackson on there, you can forget it. Yeah, I'm going with the Rams on this one too. The next game is the Cleveland Brownies versus the Pittsburgh Steelers at Pittsburgh. Who you got, Keith?
I'll make a pick for you. I'll take the Steelers because I just can't pick the Browns. Although Dylan Gabriel had his moments last week. But I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers here.
All right. Who you got, Jack?
Do you realize how insane as it might seem? The Cleveland Browns, when all is said and done, might actually win that division. That would seem to be insanity, but for that to happen, they've got to win today. And I think they can win today. They have the defense, and Pittsburgh's offense has been so-so. Aaron Rodgers has been navigating the games. They played well. I know Pittsburgh is coming off the bye. People are going to watch any Cleveland game with interest. They're going to want to see how Dylan Gabriel looks here. I thought he looked good last week. Nothing great. I graded him like a B. In a losing effort, he did well. And the Brown coaching staff wants Dylan Gabriel to have that job. But imagine he has to go out of the game for any reason and Shedeur Sanders comes in. I mean, that's like the entertainment that people are looking at.
Backup quarterbacks can win in this league, so Shedeur Sanders could take them to the Super Bowl. So,
well, I doubt it. But I like Cleveland in that game. Close game by a field goal. Cleveland has a very good defensive unit led by Myles Garrett. There's nothing wrong with them on the defensive side of the ball.
You pick Cleveland?
I'm picking Cleveland. Pittsburgh isn't that good, guys. I got news for you. The wheels are probably going to come off the Steelers. And I think they start loosening today when they lose to Cleveland. And I know it's at Pittsburgh, but I think Cleveland's going to win there. 22-19 Cleveland. And Dylan Gabriel will be the big story when it's over, the way he led Cleveland on a field goal at the end of the game on a drive. And
I'm going to guess. I know who you guys are picking. I'm going to run.
All right, Keith.
All right, Keith.
Good show, bro.
Have a good one, man.
Have a good Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So this is one of the rare moments I'm going to have to agree with Jack. I think this is my upset special. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to win this game. I think Dylan Gabriel did play a really good game. Enough to have 2 touchdowns. First of all, let's get that straight. He played a good game, but he threw 2 touchdowns. That's hard to come by with an offense that's like sputtering, or has been sputtering the past few games. And he threw 2 touchdowns, but they only scored 17 points. They got to do a little bit more there, and I think they can. I know the Steelers defense is pretty good, but they're not great. So I like the Cleveland defense as well. And there's a little bit of motivation there. There's some bulletin board material that Myles Garrett has never sacked Aaron Rodgers ever. But I think he only played against him once in 2021. And so I think he sacked like 36 quarterbacks or something like that, some crazy number. And he's looking forward to doing it. I think that may happen this game. And I think the defense overall, they're going to slow that offense down in the Steelers nation. And I think they're going to be surprised. I think this might be an upset here.
Well, you make a fun point. I normally put down bulletin board material as nonsense because players have to play at 100% anyway. So I don't want to hear this bulletin board nonsense. If you need that to play harder, there's something wrong with you. There really is. Then you have a loser's attitude. But in specific cases, it's a fun type of motivation. And the same thing we heard about years ago when Mutombo was telling Jordan, you never dunked on me. Jordan became obsessed. He had to dunk on him at one point. And the idea that Myles Garrett never sacked Aaron Rodgers, even though he played against him a limited amount, is good bulletin board stuff. They're probably teasing him, the other players. So he's going to be psyched to get, his 1 sack on Rodgers. But hopefully when he does get that sack on him, he doesn't feel his day's work is over and he becomes too satisfied. But Myles Garrett, one of the all-time great pass rushers.
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm going to go with all of you, actually, with the Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
I think that Gabriel he's using the tight ends, Fanning and Njoku. Both of them, he used them in that game very well. So he's trying to utilize his weapon. And let's not forget about the running back. The running back is playing. The rookie running back is playing pretty well. And
he had 110.
Yeah. So that offensive line in Pittsburgh's defense is not a shining example of the defense that they've had over the last few years. So I think the upset is imminent. I think Pittsburgh has been getting over games just by the chinny chin chin. You know what I'm saying? They should have lost that New England game. Keith is definitely right about that. Should have lost 5 turnovers, dude. You were given the game, but and you couldn't capitalize on it. So I just think Pittsburgh is due for a loss here.
Yeah, and one thing, everyone talks about the Shedeur Sanders situation, and early in the show we were talking about Arch Manning at Texas. Maybe, just maybe, Kevin Stefanski's getting a bad knock because maybe Shedeur Sanders really isn't ready. Maybe he's the equivalent of a rookie in the NFL, what Arch Manning was under Quinn Ewers, and we don't see that because of the Sanders name, and he's not selling his player out by saying, no, he's not good enough. And he's just, but maybe they genuinely feel Sanders just isn't quite good enough. Good enough to hold a roster spot, but they're not as excited about getting him in, and it's not personal at all.
Well, I looked at a stat that when I was watching the Indiana-Oregon game, I saw a stat of the quarterbacks that they have there right now, and in the past quarterbacks that are in the NFL. Both of them are starting, Bo Nix and Gabriel, and their percentage completions at Oregon. Again, it's college football, but they all of them were over 75%, and that's pretty good. Now that might be because they're playing in the system.
Yeah.
So. But Bo Nix is a pretty good quarterback. He's going through his little sophomore slump right now. But Gabriel, he comes from that same system. So I don't see them being bad quarterbacks. I see them being quarterbacks that, get the job done. They're not going to be flashy. They're not going to be a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, but they're going to be good enough to lead teams to victories. And they're probably not going to do enough to lose a game, more like win a game. But when I saw that stat, I was like, well, dang, that's pretty good. So Gabriel's going to be up there. I think he's just got to get used to the NFL. He'll probably have some bad games, typical for a rookie, but he should be fine. I still think Shedeur should be traded to a team that's going to use him because I just don't see Cleveland, even if they brought him up to the, QB2 role.
They don't want him there.
They don't want him there.
No,
and
no.
I wouldn't understand that, but that's
I understand it a little bit. If you recall in the offseason, guys, before the draft, Dion was saying he didn't want Shedeur going to Cleveland and all, and he specifically said it, and that could have ticked them off, the coaching staff, and they really didn't want him, and then the owner forced Shedeur on him, and the odd part about it, rumor has it, at least reports have it, that the Ravens were interested in Shedeur because he could run their offensive system, similar to what Lamar Jackson did, not as good, I'm saying. And he didn't want to go as a backup to Lamar Jackson because Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders thought of him as being a star coming into the league. And it's ironic he would be playing now, starting for the Ravens and actually getting his opportunity while Lamar Jackson would be out and showing what he was capable of. But I'm not going to believe
Shedeur Sanders. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but Shedeur Sanders is a talented quarterback.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And he and Dylan Gabriel are both talented. I saw what Dylan was able to do with Oregon, and I saw what Shedeur Sanders was able to do at Colorado with less. And I would say that definitely he should not be just a backup somewhere. He should be starting somewhere, but he should be given an opportunity somewhere else because, again, it seems like an awkward situation in Cleveland. So he should be somewhere else. But right now he's playing with his hand. He's the backup, and that's just where it is. And he's being professional about it outside of the Panama and stuff. But he's being very professional about it.
Well, that could be easily resolved. The Saints just have to make a call and they trade Shuck for Sanders.
No need, sir. No need.
All right. So we're going to go into what I consider as one of the top games of the Sunday. Seahawks at the Jaguars. Who you got, Jack?
Not an easy game to pick. Not an easy game to pick. Jacksonville is feeling good. A couple of big wins, beating the Chiefs, handing the 49ers the only defeat. They're at home. Seattle's played really well on balance. No particular reason. I'll go with Jacksonville to win because I think they have a little more upside going forward than Seattle has. Something about the intangibles of the Jaguars, they've never quite hit their stride. They're a little more likely to do it this year, I think, than the Seahawks will. So I'll go with Jacksonville at home to win.
What you got, James?
I'm not going to say a big win for them is against the Chiefs. And I mean, we got big names there, but are they still a good team? Not at 2-3. I mean, I don't think they are. I think they are regressing. And I mean, they don't have all their players, but a lot of people don't have all their players. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes there, and so there's no excuse. They should be winning. I think Jacksonville is a good team, but I think it ends right here even at home when they play the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are a better team overall. I got firsthand to see that with New Orleans against them in Seattle. I think that all facets, they're both all defense, offense, and special teams. They're really good, and they're going to go down there and beat the brakes off with the Jags. I think that Sam Darnold's played good.
Decisively.
Yes, I think so.
Game? Wow.
Nope. I think by 2 touchdowns at least.
Ooh.
Yep.
Thank you. And that's the exact reason why I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks, because I have no faith in sunshine. Jacksonville is one of those teams that they want you to believe in. And they want you to believe in that team, but it's like, can I know? I mean, you really haven't played besides Kansas City, and Kansas City's not at the top of their game right now. Have you really played anybody? If they played Indianapolis, who would you pick in that game? You'd probably pick Indianapolis, wouldn't you?
I picked Arizona to beat Indianapolis today, so don't assume I would.
Well, I mean,
but would you agree with this?
That's true, Jackie. I didn't know why I asked you.
Okay, but Trevor Lawrence is having.
We're gonna check Jack's coffee and have him walk the line over there.
Trevor Lawrence is having a good year this year, and he's the leader of that team. And if he's trending upward, and that would be my hope for them. The rest of the team's basically going to follow. There's a certain upside. Travis Hunter hasn't really made an impact. You know what a great player he might be. And, Jacksonville teases us a lot. I'm aware of that. They
exactly.
tease us a lot, but maybe this is finally the year they put together a decent year. They were a playoff team a couple of years ago, so it's not like they've been a doormat team.
Yeah. But even that being said, and Hunter's not going to he's not going to be front and center for a lot of things because he's playing both sides of the ball. That's going to wear on him eventually at the end of the season. I don't care how young you are. This is the NFL. It's hard to play both sides of the ball on a constant basis. And this is the reason why he had a good game against the Chiefs. I give you that as a receiver. Not too much as a corner. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are doubling down on making him a receiver more over than a corner right now. So in most his snaps are going to be on the receiving side, not on the defensive side. So, and that's what they should stick to tell you the truth. That guy is going to ruin his own career if he tries to play both sides in the NFL. That's cute in college, but in the NFL, it's a whole different situation. He can. I'm not saying he can't, but the point is.
Agree with you. He could play full time as a receiver and part time as a.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's such a valuable player to have because you could throw him in an emergency at cornerback, and just on talent alone, there's a good chance he gets the job done.
All right, and I did pick Seattle as well. The LA Chargers are going to the Miami Dolphins. Who do you got, Jack?
Yeah, the Chargers, 2 losses in a row. Yeah, and they're playing the Dolphins, who are one of the worst teams in football, or one of the most troubled teams at the very least. Along with it, I like the Chargers to, go into Miami and just win big, like something like 34-10. I mean, when you lose 2 games in a row, you're not taking an opponent lightly. You really, have to get it together on the Harbaugh. And I'll be shocked if Miami actually beats the Chargers. If they beat the Chargers, then we got to reevaluate the Jim Harbaugh effect on that team, because no great coach would have his team lose a 3rd game in a row against a lowly opponent like the Miami Dolphins. And I don't think they're going to have any trouble running the ball on Miami. And Justin Herbert's basically going to do as he pleases. And the question, the soap opera is going to go into Miami with Tua and the rest. But like I said, Chargers 34, Dolphins 10 if you want to score.
I'm not going to go that far. I do think the Chargers win here, but I think it's going to be a lot closer. The Chargers in a combined 2 losses gave up 24 penalties. So, I mean, they committed 24 penalties for 192 yards. And I think a lot of that's attributed to missing some players on the offensive line. Now, B, I'm going to ask you, is Joe Alt playing today?
No.
Well, their offensive line has been a big problem.
Yeah. And Miami
both of their tackles and a starting guard.
I think they're going to squeak out a win because of how bad Miami is, but they're just going to squeak it because that's going to hurt them offensively.
And a big thing that you're missing from this team is the running backs. Both running backs are out. Omarion
Hampton's out too?
Yeah, he's out too. And so is, of course, what's his face? Harris. Yeah, he's out. So
for the season, right?
Out for the whole season.
Yeah, Harris out.
At least Omarion can come back. So that's good. But they had to sign Raheem, Nimes, God, I can't get his name. But yeah, they had to sign him. And then you got this rookie running back starting. So and the offensive line is banged up. You're talking about it's just I had picked the Chargers to win this game too. But it is not going to be 34 points or 21 points. Y'all can sit there and say all that, but they're going to have a hard time running the ball.
I didn't realize with Hampton out.
Nyheim Hines.
It's not going to be that easy running the ball. But okay, I'll readjust. Instead of them win by 24 points, they're still going to win.
You still got to win by 24-10?
Yeah, maybe 24-10 instead of 34-10. You want to know something? So Justin Herbert will just be passing more. Okay, yeah, stick with 34-10. I just think it's ugly in Miami.
But again, you have to understand this. Both tackles are missing. So his blind side and his front side pressure is going to be in his face most of the time. And let me tell you something. If anything's good about Miami's defense, it is their front line. Now their corners ain't so great. Everything behind the front 7 isn't good at all. Period. They got a crappy. It's like put the patchwork defensive backs.
Losing 2 games in a row becomes very urgent for any team. It's very urgent because something is going wrong. And if you believe that in Jim Harbaugh is truly an elite coach, one of the best coaches in the NFL, like I think James believes, I believe, you might believe it, Brian. They adjust, they get things done. They don't just eke out a win against a weaker team. I mean, I'm just looking at it from a logical perspective. I'm not analyzing the players, this and that. I didn't fully consider Hampton being out, but Harris has been on Najee Harris all year. So that wasn't an issue early in the year when they were running the ball well.
Yeah, but I will agree that while you're a coach of an elite level and you figure out how to win, but it's not always going to be like by blowout. Sometimes you're just strategic just to win by a couple of points, but a win is a win at the end of the day, especially if you're someone dealing with major injuries like they are on the offensive side of the ball. And that's where they were successful earlier in the year with Justin Herbert playing elite level ball. But if you can't keep them upright, it's going to be really I mean, they're going to be dinking and dunking, throwing like 5, 6, 7 yard passes within a matter of 1.5 to 2 seconds, getting rid of the ball because they have no protection and no running game as well. So they're kind of one-sided. We already know what they're going to be. Yeah, like he said, Hampton being out is huge because he can run the ball, man. That's going to be tough, but I still have them squeaking out a win here because they need it because of the coaching, like you said.
Okay.
Yeah, and you got to look at it too. McDaniel, as much as I don't know what kind of drugs he's taking, because these press conferences, man, dude, Miami must be nice for you. But anyway, he's got to be
hallucinogens.
He's got to fight for his job. Any decent coach needs to be fighting for their job. So I'm sure he's going to have a game plan where he understands the defense needs to be prevalent in this game against the offense of the Chargers. So we'll see how that works out. I think it's going to be a real close game, though, just because of that offensive line is banged up for the Chargers. They have no running backs really right now. And you got to keep Herbert upright. And if you can't do that, you can get lucky. He can get lucky and run out the pocket. That's one good thing that's good for Herbert. He can run out the pocket. And that's huge. That's like their running game in essence. So as long as he's fine and he don't get hurt, we're fine. They should win. They should win, but not by like 24 points. Guys are nuts. Anyway, next game we have is the Tennessee Titans versus the Las Vegas Raiders.
Next.
Can you imagine like your local teams, their game can't be on? The Giants play Thursday. The Jets have the morning game. And could you imagine that's the game they give me here in New York to watch the Raiders in Tennessee? And I can't do anything else. And that's my NFL football. Oh, man. I mean, I might turn to the movie channel. I don't know if that would have changed. But Tennessee's feeling good. They won last week. They've been a mess, and they actually won a game last week. But the Arizona Cardinals lost that game more than Tennessee won it. And I know I'm taking credit away from Tennessee, but that's the reality. How on earth did the Cardinals blow that game? It was a fiasco. So now are we supposed to think Tennessee's coming along? The defense isn't that bad. The offense, though, is non-existent. And I'm not saying the defense is good. It's average. But the Raiders, after beating New England in the opener, has lost 4 in a row. And they're disorganized. They seem to be a mess. But the Raiders have some impact players. And Tennessee has very little in the form of impact players. And so I think the Raiders get it together enough to eke out a win, 21-20 or something along that line. They eke it out. But who knows in a game like this? It's like two teams that badly need a win, and one of them is going to at least get it. So it's a perfect matchup from that perspective.
So you got the Raiders, Jack?
The Raiders eking it out, a close one, yeah.
James, who you got?
Talk about your bad, low-budget horror flicks.
Exactly.
This is not one. I mean, when I say low budget, I mean when you can have a low budget movie and it still be good, but this is one of the ones where there's so many errors. The boom mic is showing up in the camera. The blood squirting out of the neck is just not good. It's just a ketchup or something on. It's just pretty bad. It's just not so good at all. But so bad that it's comical. It's good. Mm-hmm. I would say that the Raiders. I agree with you, Jack, that they have impact players. I think Geno could bounce back here. The running back, Ashton Genty, he had a 100-yard game a couple of games ago. Maybe he has another 100-yard game here at home. Brock Bowers, you got to lean on him. Jacoby Myers needs to be a little bit more prevalent and stop whining about things. I just think that this is a team that you're supposed to pounce on and get your second win. If they can do that, I don't know. Right, if they can do that. I mean, in the Titans, I mean. So I just think that the Raiders are going to do it just enough to win this game at home, and that should be a decent factor for them. and go 2-4. But I don't see a good long-term outcome for neither team in this season. So, but this is a battle of the worst teams in the NFL.
You know how great this would be? Imagine this was the flex game they put on Sunday night. Can you imagine Tony Dungy and the rest trying to put a spin on this game? That would be the biggest laugh. I mean.
I'm also going to pick the Raiders. I think that Pete Carroll needs to keep the ball out of Gino's hands for this game. I want to find somebody that's not my team member out there in the pass coverage. So I would probably give it to Ashton Jeanty. Let's see what he can do. It's not against a great team. They don't have a very good rush defense. They're decent defensively, but they're not really good at and like you said, Jack, Cardinals gave them that. That game. They didn't go out there and win it. They just took advantage of the whole fact that Cardinals were acting like a bunch of Keystone Cops. But anyway, I'm gonna go with the Raiders as well, and I think they're gonna win by 10. Tell you the truth, I think they're gonna win by 10. Next game. This is for Sonia. P-System. Cowboys at the Panthers. Here you go, Jack. Here's your chance.
Yeah, well, we hear about the MVP discussion as the year's going along, and we hear this nonsense like, oh, is Daniel Jones the MVP? No, absolutely not. But if you want to know who's playing at an MVP level, where he's playing, he doesn't have a great deal around him. I mean, Dak Prescott, he's been outstanding. I can make the argument Dak Prescott has been the best quarterback in the NFL this season so far. I mean, he's shown outstanding leadership qualities, having CD Lamb out, what he's gotten accomplished, not much of a running game. And I got to believe they do beat the Panthers. The Panthers are a little erratic. They do tease us a little bit. You give up on them, and then all of a sudden they spring an upset. They win a game. Then you give up on them again, for 2-3 games, and then they win a game. You don't expect them to win. I know it's at home. Home field advantage for the Panthers doesn't mean a great deal. And, with the Eagles playing the way they are, the Cowboys might get in the mix for the division. They are kind of in the mix at 2-1. And I got to believe, if the Cowboys are really contenders, and I question whether they are at the same time, I got to think they get the job done against the Panthers, winning something like 26-14. At some point, and it's got to come at least in the offseason, the Panthers are going to have to make a decisive decision on Bryce Young. We talked about quarterback auditions before. He's been on his third edition now. Enough's enough here. We've got either he's the quarterback of the future, not to play it out with him. But I don't want to be teased by Bryce Young having 2-3 games where he looks good and then 2-3 games where he looks dreadful.
So you're rolling with the Cowboys, Jack?
I'll go with the Cowboys. Yeah, by about 12 points.
12. Wow, that's decisive. James, who you got?
Jack, I agree with you about Bryce Young. I think there is some tease there. I think he plays inconsistent ball, but I think also he's probably on one of the worst teams that any quarterback can come into, and worst situations that he can come into. With that said, he's going up against the 32nd worst defense in the league. So I think he should have a really good game. And also, bulletin board material, Jack. I know you don't like that, but I'm going to give you some. Rico Dotto, former Cowboys running back, gave up some bulletin board material recently. And there was a response by Kenny Clark. But Rico Dotto, who recently ran for 206 yards in his last game, a career high, is looking to do the same thing against the Cowboys. He said, his quoted, "Better buckle up. It's going to be a very physical game. I take pride in that. Buckle your chin straps. I will be coming." That's what he said. And Kenny Clark's rebuttal is like, he's got to back it up. I'm not much into talking. He ain't played nobody like us, and we ain't played him. Now, in him saying not playing nobody like us, if your team's 32nd in the league. That's not a good thing in your favor, sir.
No, but
They're not quite 32nd because Baltimore has that one tied down.
Yeah, right. They're 31, I believe. So they're pretty much right neck and neck with Baltimore. So with that said, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think I agree with you also in Dak Prescott being MVP candidate, Jack. I think he's playing lights out, and it's kind of like the year he played a couple of years ago when he almost threw for 5,000 yards and 36 TDs. He's heading that direction again. And shout out to George Pickens. He's playing good. Let's just hope he doesn't start complaining about anything and start being a diva, which wide receivers tend to do. And they don't have CeeDee Lamb still, right?
Well, no, with CeeDee Lamb out, Pickens is going to get the ball plenty. He won't be complaining under this scenario. You said something interesting, James, when you mentioned the name Kenny Clark. He's emerging as a leader of the Cowboy defensive unit. And all of a sudden, that deal doesn't look so terrible with the two number ones on top of Kenny Clark. He's so full of criticism, the Cowboys, and they have flexibility on the salary cap as well. And that's invaluable for how else it could help the team. I mean, what I'm saying, as great as Micah Parsons is, you kind of have to wait to judge some of these deals. It wasn't a slam dunk bad deal for the Cowboys the way a lot of people made it out to be.
Well, fair enough. But I will say this. I think that, going back to the game, I think that Dowdle is going to get backed up by his team at home. I think he gave them bulletin board material, but that offense is going to rally around him because, again, this is the guy that Jerry Jones let go. He didn't give him a deal last year after he got his career high and with 1,000 yards. And considering that offense that they had, with nobody else, if I'm Jerry Jones, I would have kept him too. I would have kept him, but I wouldn't have gave him up. But I think the Panthers win this game. I think they're going to win this at home. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think both teams are going to do well. But, both teams are missing a receiver, and, I just think that Dowdle has a good game. And I think the Panthers win maybe by 3 or so.
I was tempted to pick the Panthers despite me saying the Cowboys were by 12. I just can't trust them. That's my problem. They've let me down too many times when I have picked them.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And talking about defense, Carolina's defense isn't that good either. Come on.
No, for sure.
And Dak is going to destroy that defense. Dak is playing at his caliber when they had the number one offense in the league right now. He is playing at that caliber. They have a pretty good running game with Javonte Williams right now. Javonte Williams is playing really well. And Ferguson is starting to come off the schneid. He's starting to catch balls. And of course, you got Pickens. So with all that being said, I mean, they beat the Jets last time. They put 37 up on the Jets. No, yeah, it's the Jets. Their defense. I think their defense is better than Carolina's defense. I think their offense is about the same where Carolina is, though, right now. They're still trying to struggle to find an offense. So with that being said, and Dallas played better defense. They did. They played better defense. I'm giving this to Dallas, and I think Dallas is probably going to win about more than 10 points. I just don't see Carolina just doing. I like Carolina at home, but this is Dallas. This isn't Atlanta. Okay, this is Dallas. So, I'm gonna pick Dallas in that.
Just very quickly, I didn't mean to knock on Bryce Young, who I think could be a good quarterback elsewhere, because Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, the two guys before him, couldn't cut it at Carolina, and look at them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that's the case with Dak too. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder because people keep talking bad about him, and he's not a bad quarterback at all. I don't know where he gets that flack from, but whatever. The next game we're going to go to is one of my games of the week as well. The San Francisco 49ers are going to the Buccaneers. Jack, who you got in that game? Mac and Cheese Jones is starting.
Both teams have, pulled games out. Like every game this season, it's been dramatic, which makes you think what their record could have been if it was going just the opposite way. I just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneer team better. I like them better at the beginning. Yeah, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. and I didn't even pick the 49ers to have a winning record. I trust Baker Mayfield more than I do Mac Jones. I trust the Buccaneer running game more. I know with Christian McCaffrey, he's playing today. I know how great he is when he's in there. And the Buccaneer defensive unit under Todd Bowles is, I think, one of the better ones in the NFL. And I know, Shanahan's a good coach and all. And I know the 49ers have this great culture. I'm not sold on them this year, despite them getting off to a 4-1 record. I'm just not sold on them yet, but I am sold on the Buccaneers despite all the dramatics. I think that's going to continue throughout the year. Baker Mayfield extends plays better than anyone maybe in the NFL, extending a play. I'm not saying he's the best running quarterback. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's better, a better running quarterback, Josh Allen, but extending plays, Baker Mayfield has been amazing this year. And he might be the MVP. You can make a good case for him. But I like the Buccaneers here. I believe in them more than I do the 49ers.
What you got, James?
So, Jack, I'm going to have to disagree with you about calling Shanahan a good coach. And he's a great coach. He's great. I mean, considering all the injuries you're not trusting him, but all the injuries, I didn't trust him either. But I have to give him a little more nod. I have to say that I was wrong. Considering all the injuries they've had this year, all that they came into the season with, and they're still 4-1, and they actually played really good teams, some of the games they played. And they won those games. So that's attributed to great coaching and to having good depth, to having utilizing players and knowing their strength. And they have really good depth. So I just think that they're going to go to Tampa Bay. The only reason I'm giving Tampa Bay the game is because it's in Tampa Bay and because they have a really good team as well. And I like their quarterback. But I got to give credit to Mac Jones. I was calling him elbow macaroni because I thought the arm was pretty bad. But, man, it's like instead of elbow macaroni, it's return of the Mac because the Mac is playing like he belongs. Like he belongs in the NFL. And not only does it look like he doesn't just belong, but as a starter, not a second string quarterback. He's actually playing pretty good. You can't go ahead and say what you're going to say.
I like Mac Jones, but hypothetically, if Brock Purdy retired, would you pay Mac Jones franchise quarterback money at this point? I wouldn't trust him to do that, not at all. He'd have to still audition for me. But Baker Mayfield, when they have to give him a new contract, he's going to be one of the highest paid QBs in the league. Baker Mayfield's gotten to the point where we can fully trust him now. He's gotten to that point finally, no ifs or buts about it. We know Baker Mayfield's an elite quarterback. We don't know that about Mac Jones.
But you got to put it, I mean, I like what Monkey just said. I disagree with to some degree because I think almost all quarterbacks have to find the system that they're good in. I mean, they're really good in. I think if you put a quarterback in a good system, like Drew Brees, when he was with his first 3 years or so, he was okay when he was with San Diego, but he got him with Sean Payton. It was peanut butter and jelly, man. It was just like elite. It was just that was a marriage made for those two. And I don't know if Drew Brees would have the same success if he goes somewhere else. He may be good, but does he have that very elite level success that he does there? I don't know. It just depends. I mean, so system to me, I think sometimes you have a quarterback, you need to be in a certain system. I mean, it's just what it is. You can't get around that. And so I agree with you about Baker Mayfield, but look at the systems he was in prior to that. I mean, Baker Mayfield looks much better than where he's at right now than what he was.
He has a lot more freedom and he has better receivers.
And he has a lot more confidence. I mean, the team's giving him a lot more confidence in playing.
Yes. I mean, I guess they're giving him more autonomy, but I mean, he is a much more mature quarterback now, too, at the same time. I mean, he was immature when he first came into the league. But with that said, I think Tampa Bay wins this game. But it's going to be close. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a really tight game. Yeah, and because both defenses are very good, and it's going to be formidable on both sides. It's going to be a tough way going, but I think Baker and Tampa Bay pulls it out just maybe by 3 or so.
So I got an interesting question to ask you, Jack, because you brought this up during the conversation about Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. I'm going to say that Mac Jones in that system that he's in, say it's the system that Mac Jones is playing well in, he's playing better than Brock Purdy is in that system. I'm sorry. Brock Purdy got paid a lot of money. Would you have, if it was between him and Mac Jones, and you see what Mac Jones can do in this offense compared to what Brock Purdy's been doing in his offense, just on this year alone, would you pay Mac Jones? I'm not talking about elite money. I'm not talking about elite money. I'm talking about money just for.
You're asking me who I would rather have as my quarterback, Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, and it's Brock Purdy. But it's obvious the 49ers have to stick with Brock Purdy because of the investment that they made in him. They have to, unless another team is going to trade for Brock Purdy and pay him all that money, and they're not going to do it at this point. I saw what Brock Purdy did, taking the Niners to the Super Bowl and putting them in a great position to win it. Do I believe Mac Jones would have done the same thing with that team? No. I think Mac Jones is a good quarterback, but I've also seen the worst of Mac Jones. And the worst of Mac Jones has been beyond awful, absolutely terrible. And Brock Purdy would never be that bad as Mac Jones was, ever, not even close.
He had a couple of games last year where he didn't have his players that he had that team.
Remember all of Mac Jones's play. He was throwing the ball places when no one was even at. I mean, it was Brock Purdy's a better quarterback than Mac Jones if push comes to shove. However, the 49ers, for whatever reason, they like Mac Jones coming out of college, and the word was they wanted to draft him all along, but they kind of detoured at the end to Trey Lance. And they finally now got their man in Mac Jones. If the 49ers could cancel Brock Purdy's contract, they would do it, okay? And I'd be okay with them doing it and going with Mac Jones. Yeah, because but
I'm going to agree with you, Jack. Look, we've seen what Mac Jones can do with other teams, and I just because he's playing better right now doesn't mean he's going to be playing better next year once everybody puts a little bit of film on him playing with the 49ers. I just think that Purdy, he may have been drafted like a scrub, but he doesn't play like a scrub. He like Jack said, I agree with you. He went to the Super Bowl. Purdy is better than where he was drafted. Let's just put it that way. In the system, in Shanahan's system.
Well, the last guy drafted, it was Mr. Relevant. So
that's exactly
better than where he was drafted.
No, I mean, no. How many Mr. Relevants continue to play in the league? So I'm just saying, yes. For the most part, it's just when you look at the history of Mr. Irrelevance, they don't last. They don't last at all. And so, like I said, far better than what he was than being drafted at Mr. Irrelevant. And the intangibles that we don't talk about is leadership. These are guys that backed him up when versus Trey Lance. The tackle Trent Williams was saying he saw the difference between the two. He just said Purdy just commands the offense. He was able to just take the offense and take it by the helm and lead. That's what you want. You want somebody that's going to be able to say, I will fall on the sword, but I will lead you guys. I'm going to be the field general out here. And Purdy's that. It's just that, of course, he got injured and he's had some bad ball. Yes, of course, it happens. But I'm going to agree with Monkey as well. You paid this guy the money. We're going to keep this guy as our quarterback. But auditioning is Mac Jones. Mac Jones is going to get a job somewhere. He's not either he's going to be a backup here or he's going to be a starter somewhere else. It's not going to be the other way around.
Yeah, I'm just because you take your team to the. I mean, Trent Dilfer went to a Super Bowl. Come on, it's Brock Purdy has the team around him. He had good time. Whenever this is proven a pudding, when he does not have his players around him, he fails. He can't make anything out of something. And that's usual of most quarterbacks. I'm not going to lie about that. But at the same time, I don't see that. Mac Jones is coming to a system he's never been into before. He's playing with lesser talent than Brock Purdy was anointed with when he first came on the San Francisco 49ers. And he's doing well with that. He's taking what's the quarterback, the receiver that came from New England that fouled him there? Bourne. He's making Bourne a superstar basically because he knows that guy, and he's playing within the system. I agree that Mac needs to play in a system. He's a system. He's definitely a system quarterback. You can't put him on any team and think he's going to be out there doing that. But it's the same thing for Purdy. We will never know because Purdy hasn't been in the teams before. But when he's been in those situations where he hasn't had his players, he's played awful. Okay, so I'm just saying, I don't believe in Purdy as much as you guys do. At this, and that's fine. I don't think Mac Jones is ultimately the answer, but he's playing better right now, and he's playing in the system. So, but at the same time, I'm going to pick the Buccaneers too because it is in Tampa. I think their defense is going to rise up. And I think San Francisco, they're grit. This is going to be a gritty game. This will probably be like somebody said, an overtime game. I wouldn't be surprised because it's that gritty. Both teams are gritty.
Let me just tell you a little bulletin coming in. The game's only a few minutes old, but the Jets are up 3-0. So I would assume
there you go.
they
Look at
scored in
that.
the opening drive of the game.
I told you that Pittsburgh defense is crap.
But for all I know, they fumbled the kickoff, the opening kickoff to Broncos, and the Jets went 3-and-out and kicked a field goal because they win territory. I'm not saying that happened, but that I could see that.
Let's see what happens because they got to win. Like I said, I'm picking them to be my upset special. So to come back with a win across that water.
Yeah, and it's in London. That's the thing that gives the Jets a benefit too. It's not in front of a home crowd of either team. So sometimes that helps other teams produce. That's all I'm saying. Because they don't have to hear people booing at them. Anyway, Bengals are going to the Packers. Who you got there, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with Green Bay. Since he's a mess, they're starting Joe Flacco. But the only thing I could think of that could favor Cincinnati, they always start slow the first few games of the season and start kind of putting it together at the end. And they have a lot of talent on that team. Maybe they suddenly show up. And I don't want to hear this Joe Flacco talk, this and that, if they have a good game. Green Bay coming off the bye week and 2-1-1. They're a little disappointing after, they haven't won either their last two games. But at Green Bay, I could see them winning handily, like 33-17.
James, who you got?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Jamar Chase a game time decision? He's doubtful.
He's not doubtful. He's questionable, but he'll play. He said he was going to play. So
they're going to need him. They got to need him to make the score 10 points. I just think that Green Bay is going to be too much for them. There's no defense there. Joe Flacco's making his debut. I think Joe Flacco can give you a good game. If he can give you any game, he can give you this game. They can throw some points up because he's got two good receivers, better than he's ever had, I think, to have it as a tandem. So it's going to be like a wealth of riches in that regard. But there's no running game. There's no defense at all. And I don't know about special teams. I just don't think that they're going to Green Bay to go and upset the world. It's just not going to happen. I like the Packers here. I think the Packers win big, actually. I think they win by 25, 30 points.
I, on the other hand, now I'm not saying this to be a Packer hater because I am. But the point of the matter is we thought that it was going to happen against Cleveland too, right? Packers was just going to come in there and blow Cleveland out, huh? Right?
But Cleveland's a better defense. Much better defense.
But they still scored on them. At 4 minutes left in the game, they scored 13 points. Come on. Packers defense ain't that great either.
But you're really comparing. Oh no, it's better than. I mean, it wasn't a high scoring game.
Defense. I'm not saying
It's a lot better.
I'm just saying you have a veteran quarterback back there now. Yeah, Browning was just running for his life back, basically. Now I'm not saying that's going to help Flacco any either, because their offensive line's got blocked for one thing. That's going to be hard, and they don't have a very good offensive line or defensive line, but he can make better decisions as a veteran right now than Browning can, because Browning is just all over the place. That game against the Lions, man, he should have never been throwing some of them passes, dude. And common sense would have told you not to throw some of them passes as a quarterback, and he was doing it anyway.
Yeah, we have 3 more games after this. We got to get in, so we got to really on speed dial.
So I think that it's going to be a closer game than you think it is because of the offensive weapons that Cincinnati has. I still pick Green Bay to win this game, but it's going to be a closer game. I just think that's all. All right. So Sunday night's game is the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. Jack, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas City. It's at Kansas City, so I don't know is it an upset, even though I would think if you judge both teams' form, maybe it's a mild upset. The Chiefs are getting players back. They're getting players back. They'll be getting a little better as they go along, and I see them eking it out. Well, like a tight game, 23-22, call it.
So you got the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got the Chiefs?
I got the Chiefs, yeah.
What's Jack's records on the pick'ems? Because it doesn't sound like it's going well.
I don't know. I got to add them up. I haven't added them up lately.
I know we don't have much time here. I'm just going to say I got the Lions. Even with the Chiefs at home, I know Chris Jones is probably going to want to bounce back from the game that he had with the statue situation. So he's probably going to play a much better game. But I don't think it's enough to be able to stop that offense of the Lions the way they're playing right now. They're going to put up another 30, 40 points again this game, and it's in Kansas City. So I got the Lions winning big.
Glad you have that much confidence in the Lions, James. I got the Lions winning, but it's going to be like a 24-23, kind of like what Jack's score is. It's going to, but on the Lions side, the Lions are kind of hurt on the offensive line. They're going to be starting Dan Skipper at the tackle spot because both Manu and Decker are out. Their defense is pretty bad in the second. Well, it's not bad, but it's pretty depleted in the secondary right now. Both starting corners aren't playing, which is DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold. So they're going to have to rely on Amik and Rock Ya-Sin to be the 2 corners on that. And with the Chiefs receivers, that might be a problem. The only good grace that the Lions have right now as far as defensively is their front 7 is playing magnanimously. They're playing really good. They're getting to the quarterback. They're all over the place. The linebackers are playing really well. The key to this game is how they contain Patrick Mahomes. If they do the same game plan that they had against Lamar Jackson, this game will go definitely the Lions' way. If they don't do that, then, Patrick Mahomes is going to have his way. So I got the Lions winning by a point because I'm a homer, but it is going to be a close game. I'm just going to let you know. They could go either way. Chiefs are getting a lot of players back, so that's a good thing for them. They're going to and they're starting to turn that corner. These games that you're watching, yeah, they lost to Jacksonville, but they're starting to turn corners a little bit. So, and that offense is a really big thing that they need to turn a corner on. So, Monday night's game. We got the Buffalo Bills versus Atlanta. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, bounce back game for Buffalo after losing to New England. I'm not going to complicate it. They're just a better team than Atlanta, who's a bit erratic, and I don't think Atlanta's going to the playoffs. Buffalo's a Super Bowl threat. Buffalo 30, Atlanta 14.
Yeah, I got the Bills too. I just think that was a pretty tough loss against New England, and I don't like the Falcons' defense. I think they can run the ball and they're going to pass the ball on them. But mind you, the Falcons are streaky on offense. If they run the ball more so, Buffalo, if there's an Achilles heel for Buffalo, it is their run defense. They're giving up a lot, and so Bijan Robinson should have a really good game. and it should open up play action for Drake London. I just think, but Darnell Mooney's going to be out, so that takes away a weapon from them, so they can double team. I like the Bills playing away. I don't know if it's by 10 or not, but definitely they're going to win the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go along with the Bills too. I don't think the Falcons are on their playing level yet. You got Josh Allen. He's a superlative in any game, but don't forget about James Cook. James Cook right now, to me, is the best running back in this game because he can run through and around defenses. He's having a fabulous year. And I told Monkey they need to pay that guy because he's one of those guys that make that offense go. And as long as he does that, it's going to be leaving a lot of people open, and that's what they need. That's what the Bills formulate for offense. I don't never have a problem with their offense, but you're right. Their defense is leaky with the run defense, and Bijan should have a pretty good game, but I just can't see them outlasting the Bills. So I will definitely take the Bills in this one. All right, last Monday night game because there's two of them. Chicago. Oh, this is going to be a good one. The Bears at the Commanders or Redskins.
This might turn out to be the most fun game of the week. I'm looking forward to the two quarterbacks dueling, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Washington's intriguing. They go to the NFC Championship game, then we think maybe they're a little overrated. I got to go with the Commanders at home to win this one, something like 21-17. It's going to be a lot of fun watching Daniels and Caleb Williams. I predict they both play well on balance.
I think it might be a little higher scoring than that. It might be 31 to 22. Yeah, 31 to 28 maybe. Yeah, but I'm with you. I'm going with the Commanders. I think the battle of the first and second overall picks is going to be really fun, like you said. And they both have great offensive weapons. But Terry McLaurin's not back yet, right?
No.
Yeah, but they're still finding ways to win. I still got Commanders at home, but it might be tough. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears can steal a game from the Commanders. But I picked the Commanders.
By the way, the Jets are up 6-3 now.
There you go. Field goal on the death. There you go.
Yeah, both teams field goals.
Yeah, and like I said, that whole plane in London is going to bode well for the Jets, and I think James is kind of right about that situation because they don't have to worry about home field crowds. They don't have to worry about the Broncos fans being there because basically it's in London. Everybody's a fan.
Home field crowds for the Jets are indifferent. They don't boo them off the field. There's a little booing in any stadium, but it's not that intense like you'd have it at certain other fan bases.
If I can hear, who was the guy that's the Jets guy that be leading the crowd? What's his name?
Fireman Ed, whatever.
Yeah, Fireman Ed. I can hear him at some games over everybody. So that tells me right there, you might not think that's booing, but silence is deadly too. If I can hear that guy over everybody in the stadium on TV, that's the problem. So booing sometimes from New York doesn't necessarily mean they boo because they're displeased. If they don't show them any kind of, if they show them silence, to me, that's just as bad. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. But it's still good for them either way. I think the Jets are going to play a pretty good game in this one. I also have the Commanders because I like Bill. And you know who Bill is? He's the running back that likes to call himself Bill because he's got that long name. But he's a very good running back, very underrated. Now he's going to be a starting running back now because, what's his name? The other guy, he can't. He's not starter material. He's Rodriguez. That's what it is. Rodriguez. He's a good running back, but he's not better than Bill. Bill is showing his stuff right now. So I am going to go just based on that. Chicago has a little bit of a hard time stopping the run themselves. They got to shore the whole situation up for them to be complete on defense. But I think that's what's going to win them the game is that running game for the Redskins. And of course, Jaden Daniels is going to run anyway. The Commodores, the Redskins, the Commanders, whatever you want to call them, like Brent, the Redskins. So I'm going with the Commodores. So is there anything else anybody wanted to add to this situation? Because we're about to get off here and watch some football and enjoy our Sunday. Anything, Jack?
Hey, congratulations to the Milwaukee Brewers beating the Chicago Cubs, and they go on to play the LA Dodgers, who they'll lose to the Dodgers, and then Seattle Mariners will beat the Toronto Blue Jays, and then the Dodgers will sweep the Mariners in the World Series.
I like that.
I go out on the limb. I don't wait till the very end.
With 4 teams left, it's kind of hard to go on the limb. But anyway, other than that, everybody have a very good rest of your Sunday. Again, join Jack and Keith on Monday's show. And, of course, Jack later on that day at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Glad Fist. Other than that, everybody have a great rest of your day.